Hi everyone, I'm back with my next video, and it's a last video for the very first chapter of Indian economic development. If you have seen my previous video, you would be able to connect with this very particular video. So, if you really want to go in detail understanding and detail explanation, or you can say the detailed notes of the very first chapter, Indian economy on the eve of independence, for class 12th, then you really need to go backward to see my videos. So under this video I will be covering my last hot question that basically sum up the entire chapter. So I have already covered in my previous video the detailed topic of each and every, like development under the colonial rule, what was the level of economic development, what was the state of agriculture sector, industrial sector, what was the condition of foreign trade during British colonial rule, what was the demographic condition during that time, or what was the occupation structure, what about the infrastructure development. So these already I have covered these topic in my previous video. So for better understanding of the chapter, it would be great if you can watch my previous video under the heading of Economic Insight by Rajika Kochar. This is what this would help you a lot, right? So I'm going to start in this particular video the last topic of this, where you can see that social economic challenges before India at the time of independence were enormous. So that value based question or hot question can come in the examination, where you have to evaluate the entire condition of the Indian economy at the time of British rule or colonial rule. Or in another way, if I'll say, they may ask you in that way, what is the systematic exploitation of India by Britishers? So it would be the same. You just need to bit change your language for the systematic exploitation, where you will talk about focusing or diverting your answer in such a way that you are telling this is what Britishers said, this is what Britishers said. So my this particular answer is completely by focusing on the very first question, the social and economic challenges before India. So I've written in that way. But you, for the second part, systematic explanation, you need to just bring the change in the language, but content is remain the same. Content will remain the same, right? Let's start with this. The given statement is correct. As I told you, never start your answer with the I am agree with the statement, or this statement is true. No, the given statement is correct. No doubt, we are summing up the chapter. So in this you have to mention all the factors, like level of employment, economic growth, agriculture, industrial, foreign trade, infrastructure, each and everything you have to bring this in answer. It probably it would be of 6 marker question. So what you need to write in this particular. So very first thing that you will be writing or starting your answer, that we know that from last 200 years the Britishers is completing controlling ruled the India. During that time, the moment we received independence, or the moment we were enjoying the independence, though we were enjoying the independence, but the state of the country in terms of social or economic challenge were quite high. How it could be quite high? The economic growth on that time was only 2% per annum. At the same time, 0.5% per annum growth in per capita output. So you can easily relate that though we were enjoying independence, but the state was very pathetic. It was the conditions were not in favor of the people of the country. We have to struggle a lot to bring back the economy into a normal pace, where we can enjoy the life or the standard of living that should be. So that was the one condition. Or if the question would be systematic exploitation, then you can mention the economic growth would be very low, where the Britishers just try to bring the Britishers again and again in your answer. Okay. The second point that you need to mention over here, the pressure on agriculture was quite high. As we know, India was primarily focusing during the colonial rule was only on the agriculture sector. So about 75% were directly or indirectly engaged in the activities to earn their livelihood, which is related to only agriculture sector, right? So that you can mention that that was again a challenge at the time of independence, that that country has to face. right. At the same time, productivity was quite low due to lack of technology, negligible use of fertilizer. People were illiterate how to use the fertilizer, how much no technological means to increase the productivity in agriculture sector. So that was the second challenge in front of the Indian economy after at the time of independence. Another thing is lack of industrialization. As we know, hardly any capital good industry prevails at the time of Britishers. No, we were just producing, we were just supplying the raw material to the Britishers, that they were taking their our product, our natural resources to the Britain and producing products over here. So that basically supplementing the industrial revolution in Britain rather than in India, right? So this is what you need to mention, promote. There is no any hardly any capital good industry in India. The growth of industrial growth was very low. At the same time, the control of the public sector, again I am mentioning the public sector on that time was there, but again that public sector was controlled and deviated and managed by the Britishers only. So they keep only few sector in the hand of the government of the country on that time, that is railway, power generation and other little bit administrative departments were in the hand of the Indians on that time. After that, we have a foreign trade, another impact or another challenge. Yes, foreign trade was oriented to feed the industrial revolution in Britain. Monopoly on export and import were only on the Britisher. All the tariffs, all the revenues, all the taxation were decided by the Britishers only. On the other hand, the surplus generated through the trade utilization is only and only utilized to meet the administrative expenses of the Britishers, right? So that led to the drain of Indian wealth. To mention such type of line that led the drain to Indian wealth, that enhance your quality that enhance the quality of your answer. So I would urge you to use such kind of lines. Next, you may also find these kind of line in your textbook when you are preparing for your examination. So infrastructure needed upgradation. Another point that we need to mention, the challenge, the infrastructure was pathetic. On that time, their connectivity, though the roads and railways were there, still the connectivity was a great issue among the people that we really need to take care just after the independence. And the last but not the least, the rampant poverty and unemployment required welfare orientation of public economy, right? Basically the condition was so pathetic, everything was taken away in form of resources. People were not having jobs, people were not having opportunity to earn livelihood. They were completely dependent on the agriculture, that again the productivity was low from the agriculture. So they are just doing the things that were helping them in survival only. So there is no enhancement in terms of increasing growth, increasing output of the economy. So that was the various challenges, or that was the systematic exploitation of India by Britishers. So I think this complete piece of information will help you to earn 6 marks, or you may end up this question with one line of conclusion, right? Apart from that, I'll be covering over here is your another question. This is again one question can be asked. What I think, that because we discussed the entire cruelty of the Britishers so far in this very particular chapter, but there is a probability of such type of question, out of the box question, where they will be asking the positive contribution in India by Britishers during the British rule. So this can be asked under 4 marker or 3 marker. So you should know, yes, always there is always blessing in disguise. Though the Britishers were here to exploit us, but somehow, some way, indirectly they helped us by certain development in the country, that you need to mention in this very particular question. So what you can say, self-reliant. During that time, we were not self-reliant, but somehow with the help of Britishers, they were focusing a lot on your this thing, so much on self-reliant to do commercialization, that produce product that would be sold to the foreign markets. So we directly or indirectly help in self-sufficiency, because once the commercialization, if you remember in my previous video I have explained what is commercialization. Just for a recapitulation, I would explain it in brief, that commercialization is basically helping you to take your product in different markets. That was introduced by Britishers with the help of the connectivity that we gain through the infrastructure, that is railways. provided by the government or established by the government. Though the purpose of establishment of the railways was completely for the Britishers, but somehow indirectly it helped us. We connected different states, region were connected, and goods were able to move from one place to another place. Hence, the availability make us self-reliant. Another thing is basically, and I do mention only in the case of food grain, not in the case of all type of products, right? Not in the capital good, not in other type of goods. So that was one blessing indirectly that we got at the time of British rule. Another blessing that we have, better mean of connectivity, that I have just discussed, that railways has been created for the benefit or taking the raw material from India to British, but somehow it benefited the Indian economy, because it connected the people, and the cheapest medium, even nowadays it's the cheapest medium to connect the people. So that is again building. At the same time, if you remember Suez Canal, the seaports were opened to transport the goods for the Britisher, but somehow it indirectly it helped people as well. So economic growth up to a certain limit. Keep this thing in mind. I keep mentioning the certain limit, certain extent, because it was benefiting us up to a certain point, not entirely benefiting us. और कहते हैं ना कि समथिंग लाइक वी जस्ट मतलब ब्लेसिंग आउट ऑफ डिसगाइज, सब कुछ बुरा हो रहा है पर एक ये चीज़ कहीं ना कहीं से लोगों के लिए अच्छी हो रही थी ऑन दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. Okay, next is shift from the barter to monetary exchange system. Very, very, very important change. We were before independence sticking to a barter system where the goods are exchanged at the place of goods. If we are looking for one particular good, then we should able to provide another particular good which other person is, what that is called coincidence of want, should was there. But somehow the system was not good to exchange the goods and services, because the correct value were we were not able to measure on that point of time. But when British government came in, so we start focusing on the exchange of coins, exchange of some expensive metals on that point of time. That brings a monetary exchange system within the country. So this is another betterment, or that another blessing at the time of British rule. Apart from that, we learned how to set up an administrative system under the British rule, because they were quite systematic, no doubt. The way they planned the things, the way they have plans to take the raw material from India and to their own country and then bringing back. So we came to know what an administrative system, how it should be set up, right? So these are the few blessing at the time of, Britishers, right? So this can be asked in the 4 marks. So this is my last video dedicated to chapter 1, class 12th, Indian economic system, with the updated syllabus. Kindly go through with this. It would help you in n number of ways. I am covering each and every aspect, data, facts and figures given in this chapter, which is very important for the board examination. The marks and the marking schemes are based on that. So next time I'll definitely meeting you with the same video, with the next chapter video, chapter 2 video. I really appreciate if you put your questions, if you put your disagreement with the content in the comment box. And if you like my video, please give a like and or subscribe my channel to have a notification when I'll be uploading my next video. That would be really helpful, especially during these type of COVID situation, pandemic situation, unprecedented situations. So let's hope for safety and security, and let learning that this type of scenario should not be hindrance in learning. Bye. See you next time.